Alrighty. Penultimate round of the season at Las Vegas. The track that has been a bit controversial for its, well, the reason that it's in the calendar is for money, but in the F1 game it doesn't even matter. It would have been in here anyways. And so yeah, Reggie of course couldn't make it. That's why I am here. So, as a penultimate round of the season, we have a championship fight going on, and it is Marco versus David, aka Pimeralda, and Marco is leading David by 30 points, so Marco needs to keep David in front of him. Sebe comes. To be fair, I don't even... Shaz, how do... I can't even remember, did I tell you my name? Anyways. Essentially, Marco needs to keep himself in front of Pimeralda. That would be the easiest way of thinking for him. Pimeralda needs to be in front of Marco and outscore him, but by at least 5 points, so that he can be still mathematically in. Of course, then there are the wins, but since I don't know how many wins does Marco and David have, at least for now. But the easiest way, yeah, for real. But yeah, essentially for Marco to win the championship, he needs to be in front of David. That's the easiest way of thinking for himself. And then for David, he needs to outscore Marco by 5 points minimum. So basically, P1, P2, Pimeralda, Marcos, then Pimeralda is still going to be in there. But then after that, pretty much Pimeralda needs, if it would have been P2, P3, essentially if Pimeralda is going to finish in P2, then Marco needs to be in P4, and then that 2 position gap is going to be going a long way. P4, then P6, P5, P7, all that. Then at the bottom, if Marco doesn't get any points, minimum that Pimeralda needs to do is P7 or P8 with fastest lap. That's the minimum, of course. The best scenario for Pimeralda in here is basically winning the race with the fastest lap, whilst Marco is gonna crash out and basically not finishing the race. That is gonna cut down Marco's championship lead from 30 points all the way down to 4 points. The best scenario for Marco in here is basically pretty much the opposite. It would be then Pimeralda to basically crash out and not finish the race. And in that case, Marco is going to be the champion, since as well Brazil doesn't have a sprint race. Last time I checked, yeah, it doesn't have a sprint race. And so that would be then championship done. In there, Marco would be champion if Pimeralda is gonna not basically isn't gonna score any sort of points. And yeah, that's probably the easiest way of going with this. GP is on his lap in his first flying lap of Q1. I just wanna double check that. Yes, that is Q1. In the constructors, though, Ferrari pretty much have sealed the championship 377 points, McLaren 270. So Ferrari are already the champions. McLaren still have to keep that P2 on, because Aston Martin are close behind, 242 points. So Aston Martin can still do something in here. Red Bull 4th, 188, Mercedes 5th with 171. So Red Bull to Aston Martin, they could still as well steal that 3rd position from Aston Martin. They cannot steal McLaren's 2nd position, but they can steal Aston Martin's 3rd position. The same with Mercedes, just about. And then Alpine 6th, 130, VCarb 7th, 108, Haas 8th with 46, Sauber 9th with 27, and Williams with only 2 points this entire season. They still have 2 races to go, but at the moment it's not looking good for them, as GP is finishing his lap with not that much ERS usage on his side. Goes fastest of course, 135.453. So it looks like he wasn't pushing at all on his lap. Then we have the one Mercedes and an Alpine switcheroo. In the Mercedes goes P1 31.537. Sen Newman goes P2 32.298. Ibrahim goes 3rd 32.825. Those top 3 times are on the mediums, whilst GP did his lap on the softs, but GP wasn't using almost at all of his ERS. He's using it a bit more now. Martin goes P2 32.213, and Haas is crossing line. That's Tsunami going P2 31.768. GP is improving on his lap by almost 9 tenths, but 9 tenths from 35.4 to 32.8 is almost nothing. That's, well, a big gap. Spinala goes P6 35.216. Oli goes P8 as Marco goes P1 30.431. 1.1 seconds faster than the Mercedes of Switcheroo. So Marco is already setting quite a high bar. Meanwhile, GP goes P4, improving on his time massively. Probably made a mistake as well on that final sector, or maybe just didn't use any of his ERS. That could have been as well. But anyways, P4 132.112 in front of Martin, but behind Tsunami. Oli did his lap on the Inters. Then we have Ibrahim starting yet another lap. Then we are gonna have Tig finishing his invalidated lap. He has plenty of fuel though, 12.6 laps of fuel, so he's gonna be doing a lot of laps on the Inters. Behind him is a McLaren of Steps, who is about to cross the line, and he goes P5 32.127. 15,000 behind GP, but GP did his laps on the softs, while Steps did his on the mediums. Next up we have a Haas and a Williams, but seems like they're both going into the pits. Yes, they are. Tsunami and Martin. Then a Mercedes, that is going to be Spinala, is going to be crossing the line to improve his time, and he is going to improve his time to go P3 31.741, just about in front of Tsunami, but still 2 tenths behind the Switcheroo, who has invalidated his lap. Marco into the pits, the same with the Haas behind him. Then we have one Williams, that is gonna be how am I gonna, whoopsie, I have no, Pose, I guess Pose. Yeah, Pose has started his first flying lap. I'm just gonna call him Pose. That's probably the best thing that I can think of as a nickname for him. Whoopsie just sounds a bit dumb. Like, yeah. Yeah, anyways, Pose on his lap. Then next one to cross the line is gonna be an Alpine of Tig, who is just doing his laps, just doing casual laps. Behind him is gonna be Steps, but it seems like he's gonna be going into the pits. Then behind them, it's going to be Womack starting his lap. Spinala then isn't on a lap. Then we have Pimarada on his interlap. By the way, we have someone spun. That's Take spun on the exit of turn 2. And does he have any front-wing damage? Doesn't seem like any sort of front-wing damage, but he's just struggling on that rear end. Spins out yet again. Thankfully, there's ghosting. But for Womack, it must have been a bit of a scare there. Going through turn 3. But anyways, nothing too bad. Womack almost bins it himself. McCluskey starts his lap. Then probably Whoopsie is the car that is finishing his lap. Yes, it is. And Pose. Where is he going? He's going P3, 31.577. Just 400s behind Switcheroo. Alfie Hudson goes P6 in the meantime, 32.063 behind a Mercedes. That's when Switcheroo going faster than his previous time, but staying P2. I mean, that gap to Marco has gone from 1.1 seconds to 0.9 seconds. Still an improvement for Switcheroo, but the gap to Marco is quite big. 8 minutes and 20 seconds to go in Q1. Behind one of the Ferraris, we have Shaz, who is starting his lap. Tig yet again going wide into turn 12. Seems like. And just doesn't wanna. Why is there Casino going in the background? What the fuck? Man, who the hell is playing Casino in the background? In the middle of the race? Oh, no. He's fine. In the meantime, McCluskey is finishing his lap on the softs, and he is going P2, 31.082 in the Aston Martin. Behind then Pimarada going into the pits. Then a Williams of Martin is starting his lap. Pose is going into the pits. Plenty of drivers on their laps and on their out laps. Ibrahim is starting his lap. Then a V-Corp going into the pits. Ollie starting his first lap on the dry tires. Then one of the Mercedes, that's Switcheroo, going into the pits. Then is that Olaf finishing his lap? Yes, that is. Behind him is Marco starting his lap. No, he's actually just probably giving slipstream to Olaf, who goes P2, 130.742, 3/10 behind Marco. Yet again, a reminder that Marco did his lap on the mediums. Then we have an Alpine and a McLaren. McLaren, that was Shaz, goes P4, 31.260. A very decent lap by Shaz to go up into top 4. Then his teammate Steps is starting his lap. McCluskey not on a lap. Then behind him a Williams of Martin doesn't seem like he's on a lap, although he is using his ERS, but he's not. I mean, he doesn't even have enough fuel, so he's not on a lap. Ibrahim seems like he's on a lap. At least he's using his ERS and all that. Going into the chicane, it's aggressive there, bit of sliding, but that's how you kind of have to go through those corners. Behind him he has Ole, but let's focus on Ibrahim. Can he improve on his time, and by how much? He goes P9, 132.009, then Oli crosses the line and he goes P7, 31.643 in the Haas. Behind then we have Olaf, who is about to go into the pit. Behind him he has Dragon on a lap. It seems like, yes, he is on a lap. And is going to cross the line coming through the final corner, and Dragon goes P8, 31.652. A very decent lap as well by Dragon. It's another lap on the mediums. Then we have the two McLaren. Shaz probably going into the pit, but Steps is improving on his lap by 3/10 through the second sector. Third sector he probably gained a little bit more, since probably his previous time was on the mediums. and he does go P9, 31.740, 1,000 of a second in front of Spinala. Spinala 31.741, Steps 31.740. That one position can be crucial, of course, although the dropout zone is at the moment at 32.213, set by Martin. He will be the last one to go into Q2, but we still have Pimarada, who is doing his first flying lap on the dry tires. We still have Sesta, who is in the Aston Martin, and then we still have Tig, who is yet to do his first flying lap on the dries as well. Pimarada through the second sector, what's his improvement gonna be going into turn 12? This braking is very hard braking, going over the curb, fully over the curb, and second sector 54.900, 2.4 seconds faster than his previous time on the inters, of course. And now into the Las Vegas strip. The DRS has been reduced a lot. But yeah, you're still hitting a lot of top speed in here. And now into the Mickey Mouse chicane in here, and then just a run to the finish line with a final corner that is easily flat out. And Pimarada, is he gonna go P1? No, he doesn't, but he's gonna go P2, 130.603. Very good lap by Pimarada, at least to get himself for that good Q2 spot. Sesta finally coming out of the pits. Tig has invalidated his first flying lap on the dries. It's very impressive that he's invalidated. It's not that easy to invalidate a lap. In the meantime, Martin is gonna start his lap. There's a lot of drivers that are just about starting the laps. Switcheroo. Is he in a lap? No, he isn't. He's just ERS saving at the moment. Alfie, is he on a lap? Yes, he is, at 2/10 improvement to his previous time. At the moment, he would go in front of Ibrahim. And now into turn 12. Is he going to cut a lot of that? I mean, he does cut that curb, but not that much as Pimarada did. 3.5 tenths up on his time. So with that improvement, it's going to be close with Tsunami. And now into the Las Vegas strip. Tig almost... that was Tig, yeah? Yeah, that was Tig almost... impeding him there. A bit of a distraction for Alfie, going into the chicane, going a bit wide on the entry. Steps retires in the pits. He does retire in the pits. And Hudson, where is he gonna finish his time? It's gonna be a P10, 31.687. Gain a little bit of more time through that third sector, and he does go in front of Steps. Spinala on an outlap, Tsunami, Ibrahim, GP as well on their outlaps. Martin not on his lap. Newman is on his flying lap, and he's improving by a 10th through the first sector. Second sector, what's his improvement? He drops the improvement to only half a 10th. With that, he wouldn't even get a position. He doesn't even get promoted by a position, which of course will be far from being ideal, since at the moment GP in P15 is the last one to go into Q2. Aggressive through the curbs, through the chicanes, trying to gain as much time as possible. As in front of Martin, I think I kicked Cyberspawn, or it must have been just my vision. But Sen Newman doesn't improve on his time and actually leaves the session as he crossed the line. But he's, anyways, didn't improve on his time. Womax retires, so he is as well out of qualifying. We still have Tig and Sesta to finish their times. Ollie is about to start his lap. Let's go with Sesta, because he's the furthest one to be on a flying lap, going not really cutting that second part of the chicane curbing. And now Sesta Can he go into Q2 promotion spots? No, he can't. Just about goes in front of Cesta. Martin as well is out of qualifying. Tick, can he go into Q2? At the moment he is, but only P14, 31.922. Ibrahim is on a lap. GP goes up into P14, so he is going to be safe. Tsunami goes up into P8, 31.630, so he's safe as well. Switcheroo as well, safe. Pretty much everyone is safe besides Tig. Ibrahim is up on his time by 2.5 tenths. He needs those 2.5 tenths. He doesn't even need 2.5 tenths. He would only need less than a tenth. Well, roughly a tenth. To go into Q2. Through these chicane, he just needs to go smoothly. Everything needs to go well. He doesn't need to do much in here. And he didn't do much in here. And he should be into Q2. No mistakes through that chicane were made. And crossing line, he should be in. Yes, he is easily in. 31.696. Up to P12. Ollie is still on his lap, but the lap is not going to matter much as he's still safe. Ollie crossing line and goes up to P6. Very good lap by him. But that is Q1 done here in Las Vegas. Marco in P1, Pimarada P2, Olaf P3, and then it's Chaz, Lassie, Ollie, Switcheroo, Pose, Tsunami, Dragon, Hudson, Ibrahim, Steps, Spinala, and GP. Rounds off the drivers who qualified into Q2, and the drivers who did not make it are Tig, Martin, Cesta, Newman, and Womax. Newman probably could have improved his time. He was on the softs, but unfortunately he couldn't improve it, and he has qualified on the mediums. Down in P19. Hello, Omar, as well. And now we go into the part 2 of qualifying, aka Q2. And yeah, in this part, of course, drivers will need to go a bit quicker, especially those who were around that from P7 to P15 area. Top 3 just need to do their usual times and they should be fine. But other than that, should be fine. Drivers already out on track. We have a Haas out on track. That's Ollie out on track. We then have a V-car, but that's GP out on track. The 2 Mercedes of Spinala and Switcheroo. And after that, we have the other Haas of Tsunami coming out of the pits on the mediums. It seems like it's not updating. I know that's best. Yeah, Tsunami out on track on the mediums. And at the moment, he's the only one on the mediums out on track. Hudson as well out on track on the softs. Then we have a McLaren. Is that Steps? Yes, that is Steps. And rest of the grid not looking like they want to come out. Although there is a Ferrari coming out. Is that Olaf or is that Marco? That is Marco coming out on track on the softs. We have a Red Bull as well. That is gonna be Pimarada. No, that is Dragon coming out of the pits. Anyone else before I'll go to Ollie? Ollie is through the final chicane. 13, 15, 16. Tick has left the session. No one seems to be coming out of the pit, so let's go with Ollie on his lap, fully in the cockpit or on his POV, through turn 1 and turn 2, and then into the turn 3 much faster than turn 1 and 2, and then into the back straight of with the DRS. With the ERS on this track, especially in qualifying, you have to be very strategic where you want to actually use it. Of course, you want to use it as much as possible through the Las Vegas Strip, but as well you want to use a lot of it on the exits, because that's where you're gonna gain most of your time, as shown by Ollie through the sort of twisty bit through the chicane, and now into turn 11, and actually this is turn 11, and into turn 12. Is he gonna cut this corner? No, he isn't. Just a bit on top of that curb. Second sector 55.629, and now in the Las Vegas Strip, Ollie used a bit of his ERS on the exit, but of course on the straight with the DRS and with hot lap mode, you're gonna be still using a lot of your ERS. He's probably just saving his ERS on the exit of this chicane, bit wide on the first part, and now he's going to be using all of his ERS to the finish line through the final corner, flat out, and Ollie goes P1, 131.418. Lovely lap by Ollie for a banker lap in Q2. Then a V-carb of GP going P2, 32.063. Switcheroo goes fastest, 130.859. Then a second Haas, that is going to be Tsunami crossing the line. He goes P3, 31.622. 2/10 behind Ollie, so that's very good for Tsunami. Spinala goes P5, only 32.472. Maybe used tires used by Spinala in Q2. That can be a good shout to use them immediately, them used softs. Hudson goes P5, 32.108, so the two V-carbs are close to each other. Dragon just now starting his lap, or did he bin his lap? Oh no, that was Pimarada starting his lap. Steps going P4, 31.810 in the mediums. Then we have the two Ferraris, Olaf on an out lap going into the pits, and Marco, who was on a lap, has invalidated. So we're gonna go back to Dragon, who is about to finish his lap, and it's not really a particularly great one. Only P6, 32.074 in between Red Bull's sister team. Not a great first lap by Dragon. Again, could have been used tires, but for a first lap, not a good lap at all from Dragon. Then we have Switcheroo, probably is starting another lap on the same softs. GP probably going into the pits. Yes, he is going into the pits. Tsunami going into the pits, although crossing the white line a little bit. Switcheroo's teammate Spinala going into the pits. Hudson going into the pits as well, since he has no fuel. Let's go to Pimarada, since he's on a lap. And right behind him is McCluskey, who is going to be starting a lap. Pimarada, is he going to go fastest? He is going to go fastest by almost 2.5 tenths. 30.619 from the Red Bull driver. A very good lap. Still behind on Marco's Q1 lap on the mediums. But quali pace is one thing, but then the actual race pace is another thing, which Marco is a bit lacking. I'm talking about race pace. His quali pace has been always magnificent. It has been perfect, but just that his race pace is just lacking. Compared to his quali pace, it's lacking. He just cannot compare to the quali pace that he's doing. Ibrahim is crossing the line, and he has gone P11, 32.540. Let's go back to Switcheroo, since he's on a lap, but he's 3 tenths down, and he goes back into the pits. Shaz is starting his lap, but McCluskey is on his lap. Apparently purple second sector, but if you have the experience, you will know that that's purple second sector is a bit iffy. Yeah, on the Las Vegas Strip, going into the chicane 14, 15, 16. And lovely here by Lossie. Through there, no major mistakes. And now just the rundown to the finish line. Not using much of his ERS actually. And Lossie, where is he going to go? He's going to go P3, 130.871. That's 12 thousandths behind Switcheroo, but still a lovely lap by McCloskey for Q2 standards, of course. Shaz through the first sector, 25.771 by Shaz. Marco is about to start his lap soon. Then as well, one of the horses that's going to be Ollie. But let's go back to Shaz on the exit of turn 12, second sector, 54.804 by Shaz. He is doing well as well in the McLaren. At the end, I have not that, I can't really compare that second sector to almost anything. I think that was a bit behind on Pimrada. But anyways, into the chicane now, 14, 15, 16 once again. And lovely as well there by Shaz. And now just to run down to the finish line. A very long one. And he's going to cross the line to go P1, surprisingly, for me. 130.387 by Shaz. A very good time. Finally, someone has beaten Marco's Q2 time. But that was as well, again, like I'm saying, on the mediums. Marco as well on his lap. Olaf as well on his lap. 55.587. Is he on a lap? No, he isn't. He's going back into the pits. Marco, second sector. What's his second sector going to be? 54.744. I think that was faster than what Shaz did. But of course, we have the third sector still to go. In front of Marco is Ollie though, so I'm going to watch Ollie on his end of the lap. Then we're gonna quickly go back to Marco. Is Ollie gonna improve a position and his time? It looks like he's gonna improving. Yes, he is by 2.5 tenths. But he stays P5. Marco though, he's crossing the line. He goes P1, 130.198. 2 tenths in front of Shaz. So that's just proving what Marco can do in qualifying. In the meantime, behind Tsunami is going back into the pits, actually. Spinola is improving on his lap. It's looking like he's going to improve. And he's going P8, 131.671. We've seen that time already in Q1. Shaz going into the pits. We have Hudson improving on his time. Almost 3 tenths through the second sector, third sector. Let's see if he improved even more on his time. Advent, a time that he would need to do is a 31.890, a better one than that, but he does go better than that by almost 2.5 tenths faster than that. 31.651, 200s in front of Spinola. Anyone else really on a lap? No, no one is really on a lap. Ollie has made his lap. Hudson has just made his lap and invaded. It's Spinola has as well just about made his lap. So at the moment, no one on a lap. The ones that are on their out laps is Olaf, Switcheroo, Dragon GP, and that's it. They are the only ones who are on their out laps at the moment. Olaf, of course, needs to do a lap, actually, like an actual lap, because he still hasn't set a single lap. Dragon needs to get out of P13. GP, for him, an ideal thing would be to actually beat Alfie's time, who did his lap on the mediums. He's the only one who has set a time, his time on the mediums. Actually, no, Tsunami has his time and steps as well on the mediums in the top 10. But still, Olaf has just started his flying lap. The same with Switcheroo. Let's look at Switcheroo's first sector, and then let's quickly compare it to Olaf's first sector. Switcheroo first sector is going to be at 25.878. 600s behind his previous time. Olaf's first sector 25.794. So Olaf is going that tiny bit faster than Switcheroo. Now Switcheroo through the second sector, and as well Olaf through turn 10, 11, and then it's going to be turn 12. How much is he gonna cut this corner? A little bit. He's gonna cut it a little bit. Second sector, still that's 56,000 down his time. Olaf, second sector, that's gonna be a 54,964. So a very good second sector for him as well. I kind of missed what was Switcheroo's second sector. Not the delta to his previous time, but the actual second sector, what he did. But anyways, Ollie has retired in the pits, seems to be confident with his time. To be fair, 31.163 at the moment is very confident time to be in. Anyways, Switcheroo is going to cross line. Is he going to be able to improve his time? Yes, he has improved his time by almost a tenth, 88 thousandths of a second. Olaf though, crossing the line. Where is he going to go? He's going to go P5, 130.809, just behind Switcheroo and just in front of McCluskey. So that's a very good time by Olaf and should be easily into Q3. Tsunami has started his lap with 1 minute 30 to go. People are of course going to be starting the lap soon, as Steps has improved his first sector by 2.5 tenths. That's of course important, and his previous time is on the mediums. In the meantime, Dragon has improved his time to go P8, 31.408, only in P8. He could be in a bit of a danger in here, since Tsunami is improving by almost 2 tenths through the first sector. Steps as well, actually he's not improving it anymore that much, only a tenth up on his time. So he did lose a bit of time through the second sector. He's not even using his ERS. Now he's backed out of it. He's backed out of it. And he doesn't even have enough fuel. So that's going to be qualifying done for Steps right there. And then GP as well. His qualifying is done right there and there. Spinola just started his lap. Hudson is going to be starting his lap soon. Next one to be on the lap is going to be Tsunami, who's going to be finishing his lap. There is the confirmation that Steps, his qualifying is done. Tsunami, can he improve his time? Well, he was improving by 3 tenths, almost 3.5 tenths. But is he going to go in front of Dragon? He should be. Yes, he does. Even in front of his own teammate, Ollie, 31.049. Very good time by the two Hodge drivers, actually, in P7 and 8. They're in comfortable 7 and 8 as well. Hudson is improving by 4.5 tenths through the... no, actually, that was... No. Whatever. Ignore that. 4.5 tenths, that wasn't his improvement. Through the first sector, he's still going to improve by 1.5 tenths, so that's good for him. Spinola is improving by 5 tenths through the second sector, so that's very good for Spinola. We failed to see what Pose and Ibrahim's times, are they improving or not, the delta. But anyways, Pose, is he gonna improve on his time to provisionally go P10 or maybe even higher? Pose, he's gonna go P9 to 31.259. Ibrahim stays or goes P13, so he's out of qualifying. Spinola goes back to P9, just about in front of Pose. 23,000 in front of Pose. Spinola safe in Q3. Dragon is out of qualifying, and with Hudson still on his lap, he goes wide through the chicane. He went very wide. He was 2.5 tenths up on his time, and with that going a bit wide, that could be even him staying in P12. Is he gonna stay 12th? Yes, he does stay 12th with that going a bit wide through turn 14. That means that he lost plenty of time there, and he stays 12th. And yeah, Marco in P1, Shaz P2, Pimrada P3, Switcheroo in P4, Olaf 5, Lassie 6th, Tsunami and Ollie in P7 and 8. So both horses in. Spinola 9th, Pose in P10, and then Dragon surprisingly down in out of Q2. Hudson 12th, Ibrahim 13, Steps 14, and then P15 was GP, if I remember right. And now, into Q3. The time where we will see what the top 10 are gonna do, of course, and in which positions are they gonna start. Marco, being a quali merchant, is gonna be the favorite to go P1 to pole position. He's been P1 in Q1 and in Q2, so he's a clear favorite. Shaz was in P2, 2 tenths behind him in Q2, so maybe Shaz can do something. Pimarada maybe as well. Throwing something out of his own hat, out of his own sleeves, maybe throwing an ace to the table, and maybe he could do something, but clear favorite is Marco. Maybe Shaz and Pimarada could do something, but it is a bit unlikely, unfortunately. But I would like to see someone else than Marco, of course. No, this is not hatred to Marco. It's just that it would be a bit better to see someone else in the top than Marco. Since Marco was in Q1 and Q2 on top as well. Everyone on softs? Yeah, everyone on softs. Let's just keep that graphic just ongoing so that we'll see at least if everyone is on softs. Ollie, Olaf and Spinella still in the pits. Meanwhile, the rest of the grid, Shaz, Pose, Pimaradas, Switcheroo, Tsunami, Lassie and Marco are out on track. Olaf is out on track. Interestingly, coming out of the pits now, so maybe there's some slipstreaming going on between the two Ferraris. But Marco has started his lap in front of Switcheroo, so let's just go with Marco, the quali merchant, on his lap through the first 2 and 3 first corners. Very nicely done through there, and now into the back straight with the DRS, using a bit of his ERS as well. And now going into turn 4, cutting that curb, using a bit of his ERS. First sector 25.611, and into turn 5, and then 6, and then into 7, and then into 9. This Mickey Mouse section, and then into these 3 corners, which are gonna be very first 2 flat out 10. 11, and then into the hard braking zone of turn 12, which you can't really overtake. Cutting a little bit of that curb, and there we see the slipstreaming. Second sector 54.472, but he's gonna get a lovely slipstream by Olaf. That is gonna be a massive gain on the straight. He's just getting that beautiful slipstream by Olaf. 357 kilometers an hour on the straight, braking into the chicane. Bit of oversteer into turn 14, or on the exit of turn 14 going into turn 15, but anyways, Marco should be easily pole position, provisional pole position, maybe into 29s for Marco. Yes, it is easily 29s, 29.7, 9.3 by Marco. Beautiful lap by him. Olaf goes back into the pits. Switcheroo invalidated his time. Interestingly, Shaz going P2, 30.7371, just cannot do an answer to Marco's time. Tsunami going P3, 31.539. Pose, what's his time gonna be? Is he gonna be anywhere near close to Tsunami? It's not looking like anywhere near close. He is going P4, 32.250. He has fronting damage as well on there, so maybe as well there was something going on there. Pimarada going P4, but McCluskey going P2. Maybe McCluskey got that lovely slipstream from Pimarada as well. But for Marco, at the moment in qualifying, this is looking how it should be for him, of course. This is looking absolutely perfect for him, and you cannot blame him. At the moment he's on P1, on pole position, and Pimarada down in P4, which is lovely for him. Ollie started his lap Switcheroo invalidated. Spinola and Olaf yet to do their times. Spinola hasn't even been out of his garage. Olaf just doing slipstreaming work for Marco. Although now Olaf is coming out of the pits to do his lap. Switcheroo yet another lap on the same softs. Olaf coming out of the pits, but Switcheroo is going to easily pass him. There is the Ferrari, so Switcheroo didn't even have to see that Ferrari at all. And what Switcheroo is going to be able to do is he going to invalidate yet another lap. At the moment he still hasn't invalidated. Its first sector is going to be 25.755, so the first sector is very good. Going into turn 6, 7 and 8. Well, still looking good through here. No big oversteer moments. Anything. McCloskey getting a 5-place grid penalty. Collision with Pimerada. Is that as well for... No, that is only for McCloskey, that grid penalty. Thankfully for Pimerada. But McCloskey getting a 5-place grid penalty. This is going to be benefiting for Pimerada, but Pimerada was the one that he got the penalty for. So the Spanish Civil War going on, I guess. Switcheroo bits off oversteer. The rear going a bit loose through turn 14, but that's really like how it is going to be in qualifying with the rears. Switcheroo, where is he going to go? He's going to go P5 130.670, just behind Pimerada. And a very good time by Switcheroo. Ollie, in the meantime, went P7 130.546. The two Haas drivers are very close to each other, but they're very competitive two Haas drivers. In P6 and P7 at the moment, Olaf has started his lap, but he's not using his DRS. He's not using it, so not looking like he's gonna be doing anything with that. It's not. He's abandoned the lap fully. Spinola is now gonna be on a flying lap. And yeah, we'll see what Spinola can do on the lap. Kind of sort of interested why Olaf just abandoned his lap just like that. He's just about gonna have enough fuel to start another one on the same softs. Interested by that. Spinola first sector 26.103. So for Spinola, I don't not looking that good. Slide into turn 6. Not looking good for Spinola at all on this lap. Not at all. He's probably just gonna be in front of Pose. He's gonna be behind the two Haas drivers, like this. Into here, going a bit cautious in here, not cutting that curve whatsoever. Second sector 55.675. So, I mean, he probably is gonna be behind the two Haas drivers. Olaf goes back into the pit, so he's gone out twice just to do nothing, I guess. Through the chicanes though, Spinola did very nice through there. And what's his lap gonna be? Hopefully he's gonna be in front of the two horses, but at the moment, just about in front of them. I mean, just about 0.05 of a second in front of Tsunami, while Tsunami is 0.07 of a second in front of Ollie. So the two Haas drivers can get an easy position, both of them, if they just improve their times by slight margin, and by slightest margins. For Tsunami it's only 6,000. For Ollie it's only 13,000 that he would need to improve his time. So it's honestly just, he doesn't even need to, they don't need to improve their times that much to gain a free position. Then after Spinola it's a bit of a cliff. It's almost 9/10 between Switcheroo and Spinola, but yeah, a free position. In the meantime, Shaz, I completely didn't see that Shaz is on a lap, hitting the wall on the exit of turn 12. He's down his time. He probably lost. He's probably going to be losing a bit of time as he goes on the straight, since that's lost a bit of momentum going into the Las Vegas strip, and then soon breaking into the chicanes. 14, 15, 16. Once again, I'm saying these, of course, close to the walls as possible. And Shaz, is he going to be able to at all improve on his lap? Is he going to be able to improve? No, he won't. He has abandoned it. He has not done it. He's staying in P3 with the same time of 1:30.7 of 3:71. Spinala going into the pit, and so no one at the end is on a lap. Then it looks like Pose is going to be the first one to be on a lap. Actually, Tsunami is now on a lap. But yeah, besides, I mean, Tsunami is on a lap, like I said. Hello, Dakin, as well. In here, it's a bit of a, let's say, shambles. One of the fries trying to let through people. That's Marco. Maybe just trying to give himself a bit of a breathing space, but it's a bit close in here with all 6 drivers. Pimerada as well, slowing down Olaf a bit. They should be able to make it to the finish line, all of them. Let's go with Olaf. Yeah, easily going into the finish line, easily there. Tsunami is up on his time by 4/10, so that's the gain that I was talking about. Maybe a lot of it, a lot of gain. I mean, not that gain that I was talking about. I was talking about only 5 thousandths, but it is what it is. Marco going into the pit, so he's done with his time, 29.793. Tsunami, where is he gonna go? He's gonna go P6, 31.071. Then behind, it's his teammate, the furthest one to be on a lap. He's up on his time by 1.5 tenths. Is Olaf? No, we don't see even Olaf. Switcher goes P4, 30.461. So he's going in front of Pimeradas. Ollie, 2 tenths up on his time. That's enough to go in front of Spinala. Woes, is he up on his time? We missed it. We missed that. Pimerada, is he up on his time? Yes, he is by 2 tenths. Shaz is giving him a lovely slipstream through the Las Vegas strip. This is absolutely lovely stuff by Shaz, even though they're not in the same team. He's still helping his previous team that he was with Reggie. Pimerada has gained a lot of time through there. Maybe Olaf as well, since he was close to Pimerada. Ollie going P6, even if he was on teammate, 130.966. Lassie, can he improve on his time? No, he can't. Pimerada, where can he go with that slipstream? He goes P2, 29.982. Right behind Marco. And then Olaf as well improving on his time. But it is Marco on pole position once again. With that lovely lap and lovely slipstream by Olaf as well. He goes up to P1. Pimerada though is right behind his ass in P2, 2 tenths behind. So Pimerada, very nice from him. Of course, getting a lovely slipstream, but so did Marco. McCluskey third, but he has a 5-place grip penalty, so he's going to start in P8. Shaz 4th, Switcheroo 5th, Olaf 6th, Ollie 7th, Tsunami 8th. They are all going to be promoted by 1 spot. Woes P9 and Spinala P10. And that was the qualifying for Las Vegas. And now we're going to go into the main race. Now, with the championship, if the race would finish like this, Marco is the champion, and it is raining in Vegas. Oh my god, this is gonna be so bad. This is gonna be so bad. I already had a race, wet Vegas. I just want to see, is it full wet or is it okay? It's inters. I just wanted to see that. It's gonna be it's gonna be so bad around here. It's gonna be so bad. Rears are gonna be going everywhere. And yeah, let's see. Let's see. Formation lap. We will be going to a formation lap soon. And there we go, formation lap. Let's see if everyone is on the inters. Yes, everyone is on the inters. Let me just keep this on. Actually, for the first lap, I'm gonna just keep this probably. I don't know, but yeah, everyone is on the inters. The track is looking nice and shiny with the rain. And so this is going to be very exciting penultimate round of the season with a championship as well in the battle. Like I said, Pimerada, if they would finish 1 and 2, Marco and Pimerada would need to make himself into P1. That would be the best thing. That would be the thing that he would need to do. If them two are going to be 1 and 2, Pimerada needs to be in P1. And then after that, if Pimerada is going to P2, then Marco would need to be P4, and then the two positions would be like that. So Pimerada P3, Marco P5, P4 P6, P5 P7 for some time till, well, from 5th to 7th. Actually, from 4th to 2nd to 4th, it gets 18, 12. So, I mean, after that, then at some point, from like, if Pimerada would be 5th, then Marco would need to be 8th. And if Pimerada is going to be 6th, then Marco would need to be 9th, no, 10th. And then if Pimerada would be 7th, then Marco would need to be out of the points. Drivers already lining up for the positions as Shaz is on his position in P3. And yeah, should be a very interesting lap 1 and lap 2. At least the first 2 laps should be very interesting. Pimerada already going a bit sideways into his grid spot, so that he's going to be having a nice position if he would get a better start than Marco. But as well, this is going to be very important to start better than Shaz. Now that is a very optimistic way of cutting someone off by pose. But now, yeah, when 5 red lights, there, 2, 1, 3, 4, 5 red lights, and 5 red lights are gonna be out, and we go here in the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Pimerada is in front of Shaz. Meanwhile, behind already, drivers struggling with the amount of grip, well, the low amount of grip that there is. Marco going a bit wide, Pimerada on the inside. Is he going to be in front of Marco behind the yellows? McCluskey is dropping down the order, down to P19. Martin as well has dropped down a lot of places. Pimerada is in front of Marco. This is crucial. This is what he needs for the championship. This is what he needs. P1 himself, P2 Marco, only up to P4 in a Haas. From P6, what a start by the Haas driver. In P4, Marco going a bit wide, switcheroo is right in there to maybe try and take advantage of it. But he just can't get it yet for the advantage. McCluskey, terrible start. He lost it in turn 1, turn 2. I don't know if he got spun round or something, but he's dropped down to P19. Now he's overtaken Womax for P18. Into turn 12, are we going to see any sort of overtakes into turn 12? We're going to see one of the overtakes that steps overtaking Newman. And is there going to be any contact? Any collisions? No, there isn't, but they're still side by side going into the Las Vegas strip. And they're going to be probably going side by side throughout this whole straight. In front though, Hudson got overtaken by Dragon. In front, right up in front, Ollie is close with Switcheroo and Marco. Marco is getting attacked by Switcheroo, and Switcheroo is gonna overtake Marco. Marco, not a great start to this race whatsoever. He's dropped down to P3. In the meantime, behind Steps has been spun round. Has spun through the first, through the chicane. The Pose goes into the pits and as well speeds in the pits, and he wanted probably as well, he's gone for the wets and he has front-wing damage, but he didn't get it changed, so a complete disaster for Pose on the first opening lap for himself. 10-second penalty as well for spinning in the pit, so that's a absolute downfall for him. Absolute disaster. As well, an absolute disaster for Marco, because he needed to be, well, he would like to be in front of Switcheroo so that the gap for Pimerada to the final race of the season would be as as high as possible. Instead of being 20 points, would be 23 points between Pimerada and Marco. Still with 20 points, Pimerada would need to win the race and Marco would need to be in P7 if Marco would want to win. And if Pimerada, then Pimerada would need to win and Marco would need to be in P8. And that would be the sort of position that we need to be. McCluskey overtaking Tig behind for P12. In front, nothing much happening besides that Dragon has overtaken Spinola, but he goes wide and Spinola gets the switcheroo on Dragon, and Dragon drops down behind Spinola, and so he's back down to P8. Switcheroo fastest lap 44.545 for the Mercedes driver. Of course, no DRS has been enabled because it's wet. Let's see if the rain is going to getting lighter throughout this race. Nothing much less happening. Pose is probably going to be going into the pits, maybe retiring. Yet another 10-second time penalty, and he does retire in the pit. So that's our first retirement of the race on lap 3. In the meantime, behind, Lassie goes for the overtake on Hudson, and he does overtake. And meanwhile, Hudson is getting overtaken by Tig as well, and he does get overtaken. Tig up into P12. So Hudson lost 2 positions on the one straight, and he might get as well overtaken by Ibrahim going into turn 6. And on the inside, Hudson does get overtaken, maybe even by Sen Newman going into turn 8. On the inside, Sen Newman, he is in front there, side by side, and there's a bit of contact between them, but Hudson could lose yet another position to another Alpine. Now he's on the inside of turn 10, but now he's on the outside of turn 11 and on the outside of turn 12, sliding into turn 12. And Hudson completely misses his braking point, makes Newman slide, and as well just caught the corner. Of course, nothing that Newman could have done. Really, why is the spray pink? Why is the spray pink, mate? What the... Anyways, Newman got absolutely shafted by Hudson, and none of his fault because he did leave in space and all that. That 10-second penalty could easily be removed. Another question is that going to be, that 10-second penalty is going to be removed in the pits? If it does going to get removed in 5 seconds, then the other 5 seconds can be then the other 5 seconds could be removed. Anyways, Spinola has overtaken Shaz, so he's up to P6, Shaz down to P7. Ollie is still within this top 4. Olaf has, well, the gap to Ollie from Olaf is 2.3 seconds, so Olaf not really doing his best. I mean, he's doing the work that he needs to do, but at the moment, Ollie is doing a fantastic race in the Haas, and he's trailing the Ferrari of Marco, the championship leader. Could Ollie go for a potential move on Marco? One Ferrari engine well, one Ferrari engine manufacturer and the other one is the Ferrari engine customer. Maybe we could see Haas overtaking Ferrari. Maybe. Meanwhile, behind, McCluskey overtaking both GP and Tsunami. So he's up to P9. In front, though, Switcheroo has gone in front of Pimerada. He's having a very good race, a race of his life out here. And Pimerada adds on, that's not a position that he needed to be. This is a position that Marco needs to be. P3 is the position that he needs to be in this scenario. Pimerada in P2, Marco P3. This adds would mean Marco will be champion, since, like I said, Pimerada is in P2 with 30 points behind Marco, and like this, he would only gain 3 points, so the gap would go down to 27 points, but Ollie does overtake Marco, so this is the position now where Marco doesn't need to be on the other side, because now the points gain for Pimerada is 6 points, and it's going to be 24 points for Pimerada. So this is a position where Pimerada needs to be at minimum. This is the position that he needs to be in P2. He must not get overtaken by Ollie, and he must overtake Switcheroo, or just pray for Marco to just drop down like crazy, maybe have a mistake or something, but the car behind him is Ola, so good luck with that. Anyways, Ollie, is he gonna try and go for the overtake on Pimerada? Doesn't seem like it. Pimerada has used up a little bit of his ERS. He's just trailing behind him. Nothing much happening in here up front, seems like. So the top 4 stays the same with top 7. Behind, though, Sen Newman has overtaken GP on the main straight, and Tsunami as well overtaking Tig on the main straight. In the meantime, lap 5. Let's talk about lap 1. Lap 1, Lassie was down in P19. On lap 5, starting lap 6 for Lassie, he's up to P9. So Lassie has had a very good race to this point, or a very good recovery, I would say, from the beginning of the race. Tig got back on Tsunami. GP and Newman are still fighting, almost locking wheels, going side by side through turn 3. Newman a bit forcing that V-Carb off track. Newman is defending Ibrahim like crazy, like madman. Ibrahim just cannot find a way of overtaking Newman. Newman is gonna force GP on the wall a bit. He forced him into the wall. Newman and GP are still side by side into turn 5 and turn 6 and 7. They're still side by side. Newman is still on the inside into turn 8. GP is on the inside. Ibrahim is just watching behind. And on the exit, GP just about is in front of Newman. That was very close in terms of gaps, but both of them are going very slow into this couple of corners, especially GP. Ibrahim is going for it on the inside on GP, and GP just doesn't leave him any sort of space, and this creates a good gap for Newman. GP failed to see Ibrahim, and now again, but this time Ibrahim just trying to find space. They're banging wheels like crazy, and Ibrahim is finally in front of GP, but the gap to Newman is 1 second, although it is going down. Tsunami in the meantime in front of them has gone in front of Tig. Is he gonna try and get back on him? It looks like that he's getting him around the outside of the final corner, turn 17. And he's gonna get a lovely move around the outside into turn 1. Now he's on the in front. Lassie is catching up to Dragon slowly but surely. Behind, it seems like GP is back in front of Ibrahim, who has front-wing damage as well. Might not have been from the incident with GP, but maybe from another incident. In front of them, Tsunami is in front of Tig now. So these are just trading positions, it seems like. Meanwhile, behind, Hudson is trying to go on an overtake on Hudson, but Ibrahim just kind of turns in on Hudson. And Ibrahim is still in front. of Hudson. Meanwhile behind them it's Steps and Cesta in the McLaren and in the Aston Martin, and behind them it's Martin in P18 trying to catch up after his bit of a disaster on the first opening lap as well. Meanwhile up front Pimerada is in front of Switcheroo, but for how much longer is he going to get overtaken by Switcheroo into turn 14? Switcheroo is not going for the inside, so Pimerada is still on the in the lead from Switcheroo, from Ollie, and then from Marco. But Ollie is close behind Switcheroo, but he doesn't go for it. He's not going for the overtake. Meanwhile behind Steps is going for it on Hudson, but now Ibrahim is trying to defend from Hudson. They're going side by side through the chicanes as well. In front there is as well GP and Newman. Steps is trying to get Ibrahim on the exit. Ibrahim is as well trying to get Hudson. They're going 3 wide into the final corner, and Steps backs out of it. Ibrahim, is he gonna be in front? No, he isn't. He's on the outside, Hudson on the inside, but now into turn 3 Ibrahim is gonna be on the inside, Hudson on the outside, and Hudson around the outside with a whole wing is in front of Ibrahim. Meanwhile in front of GP and Newman, they're still fighting, they're banging wheels, a bit aggressive there between the both of them. Maybe as well Newman a bit too aggressive. Ibrahim gets a 3-second time penalty. GP still behind Newman, relooking a bit, as well the rear is going a bit. I mean that corner, turn 6, is a very difficult one. That braking, you're braking while turning. And yeah, especially in the rain, it's very difficult. The rain is getting lighter though, I feel like. It's getting a bit lighter. So you might see the rain, we might see some drying up. Cesta gets a 3-second time penalty, was trying to take Steps, but he failed completely to do so. Up front, nothing much happening. Lassie is catching up to Dragon, but Dragon has caught up to Shaz. For P7, Switcheroo gets a new false lap, 41.137, so the track seems to be drying up at the moment. It's not as shiny as it was. Behind, oh, there's a contact, there's one of the, that's GP and Newman, that was bound to happen. Cesta almost runs into the back of them, saved by the ghosting. Newman is going into the pits. Is he going to retire? Yeah, he's going to retire in the pits. Rage quitting. GP down in P17. I mean, it was bound to happen between the two of them. They were fighting aggressively. They were a bit too aggressive. And unfortunately, one of them is out by rage quitting, and the other one is down in P17. Whilst both of them were in a good position in like 12 and 13, which they could have as well maybe had a chance of getting into the top 10, but they decided to fight like crazy, and unfortunately both of them, one of them is out of the Grand Prix and one of them is down in P17. In front though, Switcher is right behind, well, not even behind, he's in front of Pimerada on the straight, main straight, and Switcher is in front of Pimerada going into turn 14, so Switcher takes back the race lead. Marco is just trailing, he's just looking at this pack, the same as Ollie, but he has a bit of pressure from Marco. Marco is just driving in there without any pressure from behind, and as well that's the car behind is his teammate Olaf. In the meantime, Switcheroo gets a new fastest lap of 1:40.650, so he is as well pushing. He is driving quick as well in here. Pimerada has got plenty of ERS though, 2.5 plus of fuel, so that's costing him per lap a lot. In the meantime, in the midfield, we have Tsunami and Tig fighting for the P10, and Tsunami is in front of Tig as of right now. Behind as well, it's a bit of fighting in the mid, on the lower back. Sesta is trying to go for the overtake on Martin into turn 4, and bit of contact between them. Martin has been pushed into the wall. GP is trying to get the advantage of Martin. The two collide. Both of them go into the wall. None of them gets any sort of damage. It was mainly like, touching the wall. And with touching the wall, I mean not hard touch. Anyways, Martin is still in front of GP. Tick in front of Tsunami. But in front of them, Shaz is in front of Dragon. Although Dragon is trying to get that position on Shaz, and he does get it. Dragon is up to P7. Shaz doesn't have any sort of ERS. Dragon has a lot more than Shaz. The track seems to be drying since the drivers are getting faster and faster laps. It's still drying though, but it is drying, it seems. Lassie as well is trailing behind these two. Meanwhile in front, Pimerada got overtaken by the Haas of Ollie. Ollie is absolutely going for it, and is he gonna go for the race lead into turn 4 on the inside of Switcheroo? He's still there, but he doesn't want to fully commit to it. So Ollie is still stuck behind Switcheroo in P2. Pimerada looking at this, he's not happy with this. He's totally not happy with this. His preferable position would have been, of course, P1, and of course, from the whole grid, preferable position would have been P1. But as well, it's not looking good for Pimerada in terms of the championship. Pimerada though has plenty of ERS. Ollie has a bit less. The same at Switcheroo. So Pimerada can go for it fully on the main straight, using it and overtaking Ollie. And is he gonna try and as well get Switcheroo on the main straight? He's gonna get him. He's using a bit more of his ERS, and he does get the double overtake on Ollie and Switcheroo from P3 up to P1. Pimerada is back in the race lead. Marco still staying behind all of these three. He's just watching this. He knows that, he doesn't really need to risk it to anything, because anyways, if Pimerada is going to be P1 and Marco in P4, the gap is going to be 17 points. 17 points, so that's still, for the last race of the Grand Prix, that would still mean Pimerada would need to win the Grand Prix, and Marco would need to be having an absolute disaster of a final race. Meanwhile, Switcher, is he going for it on the move? No, he isn't. Marco close behind Ollie, but he's just wanting to watch what the cars in front are going for. In the meantime, DRS has been enabled. It stopped raining and it's dry. It's dry. Steps into the pits, pitting for mediums. These drivers are going for the slicks. It is for the 6 conditions. All of these drivers behind are pitting for mediums, it seems. Everyone for the mediums. GP for the hards. So he's going safe. Sesta as well got 10-second time penalty for spinning in the pits. Womax going into the pits. But these drivers will need to pit. Meanwhile behind, Tsunami has binned it. Tsunami has binned it. He's sideways. He's stuck with a broken front wing and probably rear wing now as well. Completely broken front wing from him. And probably a race ruined as well. If he pits now, he's going to be lost, actually. In the pit. Yeah. Just try and cause a safety car, I guess. Mate. Just go into... okay, I guess it's done like this. Anyways, we go now into the pits from the top guys. Pits. A bit of contact behind. Pimerada went safe on the pits. Pimerada goes into the pits. The same with Switcheroo going for the hards. Marco going for the mediums. Ollie, what's he going to do? He's going for the mediums. Is someone staying out? It's Olaf who has stayed out, interestingly. But yeah, everyone pitting besides Olaf. A lot of drivers pitting for the mediums, but some of the drivers went for the hard compound of tires. Pimerada is net leading the Grand Prix. In front of Ollie, in front of Switcheroo, and then it's gonna be Marco. Olaf is still yet to pit from his inters. Those inters are absolutely cooked, especially the rear tires. The rear tires are absolutely cooked. And so Olaf is gonna be, well, he's gonna drop down a lot of positions. He's sliding into turn 12, completely initial D into that corner. And the drivers are going to be, of course, feeling the grip, but Pimrada goes a bit wide onto turn 12. And that is going to lose him loads of time. And that's kind of even... He could drop down all the way down to P5. Pimrada needs to... Well, he can't really do anything. Marco is going for the net race of the Grand Prix up to P2. Ollie P3, Switcher P4, Pimrada down in P5. This was what I was talking about with that mistake. He has dropped down from net P1 all the way down to net P4. He has binned it there. Lossie, Shaz and Dragon, all of them have contact. And Dragon and Shaz were forced off to go onto the escape road. Lossie up to P7 was Dragon and Shaz went into the escape road. Dragon P8, Shaz P9. What has happened there? I just said quick blink there. What happened? But it seems like Lossie got away with that. Whilst the two fellow competitors had to go onto the escape road. Olaf just exiting the pits in front of Lossie. Spinola in P5. Marco is in the race lead. This is his position, what he needs to be to win this championship. Martin retiring in the pits. But yeah, Pimrada, this is what he didn't need. This is the absolute opposite what he needed. He needed to be close to Marco at least to be in the contention for the championship. Now let's see if Marco is gonna be able to keep that position. As Spinola is out in turn 12. He's out of the Grand Prix, and that has caused a safety car on lap 14 out of 15. What has happened? He's binned it seems, into turn 12 from P5. And now this is late race drama for the race, for the whole race. Who is pitting? Pimrada is pitting. Switcheroo, I mean, tried to go for a late pit, but that would have been already crossing the white lines. Pimrada into the pits for the mediums. So, not a good race strategy from him. He's gonna drop down behind Olaf, not behind McCloskey, not behind Dragon. So he's only lost one position, thankfully for himself. Although, is he gonna lose one position since Shaz is right? No, he's gonna be fine. He's gonna be fine. Take a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pits. That's unfortunate for him. But Pimrada is gonna have tiny bit fresher tires compared to Olaf and the top three. Of course, Switcheroo is gonna be easily going into the end of the race. Ibrahim going for the softs, risking it on the softs, trying his luck. Sesta is back in the race, and the safety car, of course, will bunch up the whole grid. But Pimrada, he needs to cook on them tires. He needs to overtake Olaf as quickly as possible, ASAP. He needs to overtake on that back straight, because other than that, what is going on in here? Tig is just going slow. GP going straight into a wall. Controller disconnected. What happened? He's reset it to track, and probably he's in the AI now. Yeah, the movement is like AI. Or is it? I mean, it seems like AI movement. Nah, this is not AI. I don't think so. I don't know, but still, GP went straight on into the escape road and hit the wall. Probably just controller disconnected, maybe. Wheel slash, I mean, whatever. I mean, it's still a controller disconnected. But yeah, Pimrada needs to cook on them tires. He needs to overtake Olaf on this back straight, which we are coming up to. He needs to overtake Olaf in here as quickly as possible, and that is a must. He needs to do it so that he can then be right behind Ollie, so that he's not going to be right behind Olaf, because Olaf is going to be playing to Marco's hands. He's going to be trying to slow down Pimrada as much as possible. He is going to try that. Maybe just by his own pace, or maybe just a slightly bit slower through the corners, you know, not that a bit, so that Pimrada as well is going to get a bit tense and gets a bit aggressive, maybe causing Pimrada to then spin around Olaf's, lose time, just so that he can mentally as well go into his head and, you know, trying everything to slow him down. If Pimrada can't overtake Olaf into turn 4. If he can't, well, of course, that second sector isn't lasting long, and this track isn't very downforce orientated, so he can overtake him on this Las Vegas strip, but it might be as well too late in here. As well with the ERS, he would then, at that point, he would have used all of his ERS. But yeah, safety car not yet in this lap, since Tig is yet to catch up to the safety car pack. Tig is going interestingly slow, so that the safety car is gonna last enough. Yeah, he is doing that tactic. I mean, fair play to him. Fair play to him. I mean, okay, now you don't need to even use our ERS, honestly, but it is what it is. But yeah, Tig playing that type of game. Fair play to him. Although, to be fair, I don't know why he hasn't used all of his ERS on the straight, though. Now he's going back into the pits. Huh? Don't speed in here. It doesn't seem like he's gonna retire. He's gonna probably go back into the softs. Or is he going back to the mediums? Back onto the mediums. But now with that gap, might be a bit much. Maybe a bit too much to catch up to the safety car pack. Actually, nah, he should be fine. The only worrying part about this is his ERS. Is he gonna be able to gain up enough ERS? I mean, let's just pick up his telemetry so that we can see his ERS. I mean, I can see it from his wheel, but I'll just show it like this. I mean, he's gonna easily catch up, but his ERS is gonna be absolutely fucked. Well, compared to the others, everyone else has 100%. He's gonna have a bit less than that. Although, to be fair, he should be fine with his ERS as well. Safety car should be in this lap, but we're just waiting for that. Communication. Usually it happens at the same time when the sector 3 starts, and there we go, safety car in this lap. But yeah, like I said, usually it starts, the communication is when we start the sector 3, but in here it's a bit different. Anyways, safety car in this lap. Tig has good enough ERS, and now Marco is going to be slowing down this pack. Olaf is as well going to be doing his job. Marco is just waving around, and when is he going to start? He is gonna be starting now. He's pulled the trigger, and we are back in racing. Lap 18 out of 25 has started now. Pimrada, let's see him. He needs to take Olaf as quick as possible. Maybe around the outside of turn 1 and 2. He can't do it yet. He still has as well Shaz right behind him. It's not great through turn 4. Turn 3. Is he going to overtake Olaf? No, he can't. Olaf is as well playing his race in here as well, but he can as well slow down Pimrada a bit through this third sector. There is one of these Saubers in the wall, and that's Womax in the wall in turn 4. He probably has fronting damage. Yes, he has fronting damage, so that's his race almost ruined right then there. If not another safety car comes out, Pimrada is right behind Olaf's ass. He's gonna try and overtake Olaf as quick as possible. Olaf going a bit wide, not getting a good exit. And now Olaf is gonna try to stay behind, stay in front of Pimrada. But Pimrada now knows that he is flashing, and that's so early to flash. And Pimrada, is he gonna go for it? He needs to go for it. He needs to go for it. On the inside, a little bit of contact between them on the inside, and Olaf late brakes massively into turn 14, and he's still in front, but now into the back straight. Yet another back straight. Pimrada has a lot more ERS compared to Olaf 0, and so Pimrada is up to P4, but is Olaf gonna send it down inside? No, he won't. McCluskey almost takes out Olaf into turn 1. Ibrahim spins, goes backwards, tries to go into the pits, it seems. The two Saubers go into the pits. Sestad has dropped down a lot. Ibrahim out of the race. But this is what Pimrada needed, to go in front of Olaf. And now he needs to overtake Ollie as quickly as possible. He needs to overtake this race. Switcheroo goes wide, and he does get a 3-second time penalty. So, Switcheroo, we can almost rule him out of the contention for the race win, but he might not even get that DRS on Marco. Going into turn 12, he doesn't even have that much ERS. In here, it's iffy on the exit, and Marco is not... he's getting away, so Switcheroo won't have that DRS. Ollie is already taking the advantage, and Pimrada before the DRS even started, and Pimrada is in front of Switcheroo, and now he needs to get in front of Ollie into turn number 14, and he does get in front of Ollie, so this is the position that Pimrada needed to be. He's up to P2 from P5 on lap 18. Pimrada is in the position that he needs to be. Both Pimrada and Marco are on low amount of ERS. Ollie has loads of ERS, so he can attack Pimrada wherever he needs, or maybe as well defend from Switcheroo. But this is the prime position that Ollie as well would like to be, in a Haas as well. Haas, a podium in a Haas is absolutely unheard of. That never happened in real life, and in the game it can be even different. 6 laps to go, lap 20 out of 25. These two are going to be working, working not particularly with each other, but strategically, in terms of the fact that last lap, Las Vegas Strip, that is going to be the point where, let's see who is going to be behind one or the other. Is it going to be Pimrada behind Marco, or is it going to be Marco behind Pimrada? Pimrada is right behind Marco though. He might have to go for the overtake. He might have to go for it. Or is he going for it? Of course, he has the DRS. He's on the inside. The DRS is open, and he does go for it. Ollie, is he going to try and go for it? He's not using his DRS whatsoever, so he's not going for it. Olaf, is he going to send it on switch route? No, he isn't. Meanwhile, behind him, McCluskey in front of Shaz. Hudson in front of Tig. Although there's a bit of contact. Hudson, bit contact between Tig and Hudson. Hudson got half spun, and so he loses a position to Dragon. Tig, a bit controversially, up to P8. In front though, Pimrada still leading the Grand Prix. Ollie behind Marco. Switcheroo still has a DRS on the cars in front. Steps overtaking GP into turn 3 around the outside. Does get that move, although they almost went into the wall, both of them. But luckily they managed to not go into the wall. Marco right behind Pimerada, although he is gonna lose bits of time through this bit. He's gonna lose a bit of time. Marco has a lot more ERS though. Marco has almost 80% of ERS compared to Pimerada, who has 40%. So Marco, in terms of ERS, he is in good hands compared to Pimerada. I have a hard time saying Pimerada for some reason. That P is just, I don't know. Olaf should be able to easily overtake Switcheroo since he doesn't have a DRS. But Marco, is he gonna go for it on the attack on Pimerada? Doesn't really go for it. Behind Ollie might go for it. No, he doesn't. Pimerada though does get back on Marco, and so he is in front of Marco still. Onto this straight, goes on to the start-finish straight. Ollie could go for P2, and Ollie is in front of Pimerada. Marco up to P1, Pimerada down to P3. Ollie in between the two championship rivals. Ollie is getting in the mix of this championship, which he, honestly, this is unheard of. The Haas breaking the, or my guy is intervening the championship as Olaf almost runs into the back of Pimerada. This would have been a controversial point of the championship if Olaf would have actually spun around Pimerada. Pimerada is sort of looking maybe for some space for the overtake on Ollie, but they can't. All of the drivers have a high amount of ERS. Pimerada has just tiny bit more tiny bit more ERS than the two in front of him. But let's see if Ollie is gonna go for the race lead of the Grand Prix. This would mean the first time that he would lead the Grand Prix this race. And on the main straight, Pimerada behind him though, close. Ollie is not using his ERS. Marco letting Ollie through, and Ollie is in the lead of the Grand Prix. Pimerada is still on the inside, and Pimerada is in front of Marco. Ollie leading the Grand Prix on lap 22 out of 25. We're about to start lap 23 out of 25. Pimerada in P2. This is a good position for Pimerada, but if this would have been the final lap, this would have been a good position. Not the best, but a good position. Olaf right behind though. He is going to be ready to attack Pimerada. Pimerada doesn't go for the move on Ollie. Behind, still staying the same. Olaf has caught up massively to the pack in the last couple of laps. Lassie is still in there. Shaz, Tig, Dragon. The whole top 9 is within this DRS train, getting in the mix for the championship fight. Is it going to be the championship for Marco this race, or is it going to be extended to the final race of the season in Brazil? We'll see. Pimerada and Ollie and the rest of the pack are going into turn 12 and exiting it and into the Las Vegas Strip. Pimerada, is he going to try to overtake Ollie? I mean, he might have to be forced to overtake, since Marco is trying to overtake Pimerada, and he does go for it. And Ollie though is still in front. He's still in front. Olaf behind is going to be trying to pressurize Pimerada, but Olaf doesn't have that much ERS. He's touched two of the walls there. He doesn't have almost any of the ERS, and he might get overtaken by someone behind, maybe. McCluskey trying to go for it. Pimerada as well, looking for a gap on Marco. Switch from maybe losing a position on Lassie, although Lassie has the outside and now on the inside on the better tires. And McCluskey is in front of Switcheroo, but McCluskey doesn't have that much ERS, and Switcheroo could go for it. McCluskey a bit squeezing. Switcheroo on the outside, he's still there, but he goes wide, and McCluskey still leaves him the space. but McCluskey is in front. But Switcher sends in on the inside of turn 6 and into turn 7. McCluskey has to go off track since he got pushed off by Switcher. Gets a 3-second time penalty, and probably the game is gonna tell him, let him through, mate, let him through. But with that, he's lost a position to Shaz and to Tig as well. He has lost a position, so he tried to be in P5, but he's dropped down to P8. Disaster for McCluskey. Meanwhile, in front, Marco. He might not have the DRS on Ollie. Ollie is trying to win this Grand Prix. He's trying to go for it. Olaf is as well in the mix of this. Pimerada is going to have the DRS. Marco doesn't have the DRS, it seems. And so Pimerada is up to P2. Olaf is, of course, going to stay behind Marco. And Zesta gets a 3-second time penalty. Meanwhile, behind Shaz is in front of Tick, in front of Switcheroo. So Switcheroo lost 2 positions. In front of Marco, going for it on Pimerada and almost running into the back of Ollie. He's trying to go for it for the lead of the Grand Prix. And is he gonna go for it? Yes, he has. He's gone for the race lead on the final lap of the Grand Prix. If this is gonna end like this, Marco is gonna be the champion. But he doesn't have any sort of ERS at the moment. He's going to be trying to save up as much as possible. Pimerada has plenty of that ERS. But in front of him, there is a bloody Haas in front of him. From absolutely nowhere. Ollie is driving an absolute madness of a race in that Haas. From the point of the start, he was obviously P4, stayed with that top 4, which consisted of Marco and Pimerada and Switcheroo. And at this point of the race, probably no one expected him to still be up there, but Pimerada is trying to go for it, risking it to go into P2, but Ollie's not having it. He's not trying to give it. And now into the Las Vegas Strip. Let's see who's going to come out on top. Of course, Marco is not going to have that DRS. Pimerada is trying to go for it on Ollie, and he's going to get him, although they're side by side. Marco is probably going to get overtaken by both of them around the outside and on the inside, on the left and the right. Pimerada needs to go for the lead of the Grand Prix. Yes, he has on the lead of the Grand Prix. Marco is dropped down to P3, but now into the run-up to the final, to the finish line. Marco goes to the race lead as Pimerada and Ollie touch, and Marco is going to finish in P1, and he's going to win his championship of season 10 here in Las Vegas after Pimerada and Ollie made contact on the exit of turn 16. Both of them went into the wall a bit, losing speed, and Marco takes the advantage, and like that, somehow Marco wins season 10 championship division 1 here in Las Vegas with 1 race to go. He has done it. The Quali Merchant has finally done it. At least the time that I'm in here. He has finally done it. Pimerada got it with that. He must be, because he was on for a win, but unfortunately that contact left him vulnerable on Marco. Shaz finishes in P4 somehow as well after dropping down a bit. Driver of the day, Tig, nah, it's Ollie. Ollie has run a magnificent race as well. I mean, Marco has won the championship, but Ollie in that Haas, I have to give it to him as well on the podium. He could have gone for the race lead, for the race win, but honestly, it's Ollie still. Marco wins the championship. Ferrari has finally done it. Shaz finishes in P4, Tig 5th from P16, Dragon 6th, Olaf finishes in P7, Lassie P8, Switcher P9, and Hudson rounds out the top 10, and then it's Steps, GP, Womack, Sesta, Ibrahim, Spinala, Martin, Tsunami, Newman, and Pose. Hoo la 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 la, that was a race to... That was some emotions right there. That was some emotions like... What was it? Season 5, when Noise won his championship, breaking off Reggie's streak of championships, like 5 championships, which was mad. I mean, that was that level of emotion right there. That was Pimrada, of course, is gonna be gutted with that. And I mean, I mean, honestly, I am even left speechless in here. I cannot believe what has happened there on that final lap, on the final sector, on the final straight, even on the final straight, on the final 4 corners. What has happened? It was Marco winning the championship, then it was Pimeralda, then on the exit of the final, of the pretty much final, pretty much a braking zone, all of a sudden Pimeralda lost it, because of contact with Olian. Honestly, I'm left speechless. But Marco wins his first championship. Yeah, his first championship of BP Division 1. He's done it. And yeah, that was a race to remember. Next week is gonna be Brazil. There, the main championship is done. The championship has been decided here. David cannot catch up to Marco at all anymore, and so what a way to send off the championship, I guess, the drivers' championship. What a way! That was some race there. That was some race. But yeah, next week is gonna be Brazil. Let's see if I'm gonna be commentating that. If Reggie is gonna be able to be able to do that. But yeah, still, championship has been done, and constructors have been already done. The drivers' championship is now done, and yeah, well, let's see you next week, and then we'll see if it's gonna be me or if it's gonna be Reggie. But see you next week. Ciao.